All right, Patreon supporters, we need your help because it is 8 p.m. and we have spent an hour trying to get comfortable on the couch. So Erin needs a new couch and we need a new podcasting room. Those are totally separate issues.
Yes.
So. Welcome to Crime Crazy, the weekly true crime podcast with Erin Klein
And Jordan Middleton.
Join us each week as we prove that we know pretty much nothing about the legal system, but we are really crazy for a good true crime story. So, hey, Jordan.
Hey, Erin. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm here. This week has flown by.
Except for tonight. Tonight is a struggle.
Well, it's been a little bit of a struggle, but we're
me.
pulling through,
I know.
and we're going to have a great episode. I'm very excited to tell you my story.
I'm excited about my story, too. I don't
I'm
know why I'm in
excited because
such
I
a funk.
inspired it.
Yes. We should probably explain that at some point.
Yeah.
I'm going to let it hang for right now.
Oh, yeah, you should. They're going to be like, oh, shit, what did Jordan do?
Right? Jordan inspired a crime? Oh, my God. My story has, like, all kinds of fun. It has animals. Both of my stories have animals.
It does not.
No gorillas.
No gorillas this week.
No cats.
No cats.
No dogs. I almost did one about a bird, a cockatoo.
That would have scared me. Birds really freaked me out.
Well, it was really horrible because in this story, the bird, he, like, helped solve the crime.
Did he mimic the murder?
No, that's what I was hoping for.
I saw that on a movie once. I think that's why it triggered.
Yeah. No, I was really hoping for that because the title of the article was like, he helped solve the murder. But it turns out, like, they matched the blood on his beak to the murderer, but only because the murderer had, like, killed him and ripped off his leg and scattered feathers. It was awful. I was like, nope, that's the one I'm not doing this week. So, yeah, he ripped off his leg. Who the hell rips a leg off a bird?
Unless
Surely.
it's a chicken.
Oh, ha ha.
I don't even like the legs. That's the best part.
But those turkey legs at Busch Gardens that are like
Lindsay,
smoked.
I tell you
my
what,
God.
she can smell them as soon as we walk in the park, and she's like, where are those turkey legs?
Silent
and
too.
Mike was like, turkey legs? Like, oh my God, it's the greatest thing.
In the one part of the park that makes no sense because it's Busch Gardens, Europe, and that's Canada. Canada's not fucking in Europe.
Which is where my story takes place.
Ooh,
she didn't even know that.
No, I didn't. A lot of our stories take
but
place
it's like,
in Canada.
I think it's like French. I don't know, because France is right next door. Like well, not next door, but you know what I mean. Like right.
Oh, in Busch Gardens.
Yeah.
I'm like, what, Jordan? No, those are in different continents.
No, I
Are
was
you
like, that's why I was like, wait, okay, hold on.
Well, because it's France and New France. That's how they get away with it. They're like, oh, it's New France. It's not New France. It's Canada. They spelled Canada with apples. It's Canada.
I read them.
Right? But it is one of the cooler places in the park, even though I don't know if there is, like, the log flumes there. I think that's the only thing that's there to ride.
Yeah, and like another little like spinny ride. And they have the new ride there now. The
Oh, is the new one
coaster.
there? I'm supposed to go on that. Because it's like not a make you sick roller coaster. Last year we did like an animal thing. Just to tie back into my story, we did like a safari thing. It was really awesome. Okay. So anyway, Jordan, what story are you not telling us this week?
I am still not telling you the gangster story because I still am researching that one. There is literally that much to the point where I think I'm going to need to condense it a lot.
Yeah. That's such a shame.
I know. But I don't think anyone wants to listen to me because I could probably talk a whole hour about every single thing
We should do a special
did.
episode where we just tell the entire story of one of these cases.
I could have done that with this story.
With that one.
So I had to condense it as much as possible. But
I wish mine had a little bit more on it because it's a really cool story and I feel like there's more to it, but there just wasn't that much on it. It involves a dog.
I love dogs, so I'm okay.
Except for your dogs, right?
Well, I love them, but
so
they know why I don't like them right now.
Our first take? No. Was it our first or our second? It was our second take. This is like our third or fourth or 20th try tonight. I'm not really sure. But our one of the first ones that we did, we spent like 12 minutes talking about how your dogs have upset tummies and you've been cleaning poop for a week.
Yes. So that's why we're glad You should be glad we did another take.
That's right. But hey, if you donate on Patreon and you get the blooper reel, you're almost definitely going to get 20 minutes of us talking about Jordan's Great Danes pooping all over the floor.
In the yard and the bedroom, everywhere.
So don't forget, pull out your credit card. You know you want it. All right.
Well, I'm excited. So whenever you're ready, Erin.
Oh, okay. So stop talking about poop and tell my story.
I'm just excited because it has a dog and anything
it does.
Dogs. Oh, I think mine did have a dog. I mentioned a dog because I
We've
remember
been talking about this for an hour.
I remember putting doggo down, like the meme, and I was like, her doggo. But
that's funny.
When we get there, I'll explain.
So Jordan's may or may not have a dog in it, but we won't know for like another half an hour.
We don't know breeds or age or cuteness.
Mine's a mutt. Aww. I was so excited that mine's a mutt.
All right, I'm excited.
Okay, so I lost my train of thought. Okay, so there's a background story for mine. Because I was feeling super uninspired and also super rushed today. Because episode 10, I finished editing like yesterday at like 9:30 at night. It's like, oh, it's 9:30 at night. Episode 10 comes out in 3.5 or 2.5 hours, and I haven't finished editing yet. It was a little stressful. So I texted you, and I said, give me a challenge.
Yep.
And you said...
I was more or less excited about giving you... I said something about the internet. Something
about a crime with the internet. And I was like, well, like, so every crime ever in the past 10 years?
I know, and I realized I wasn't very descriptive, but I mean, like, the ones, like...
Like catfishing?
Like that. I love Catfish, the show, so don't get me started. But the newest one, that challenge that's going around the internet, and it's making kids pretty much kill themselves. Like, they have to hurt themselves in some weird way for... 50 days or something. I could be completely wrong. But then usually at the end, they end up killing themselves.
So stupid.
Yes. And it started overseas, so I don't know where.
Are so stupid.
And they're following this. And I think it was an 8-year-old. My sources are not great. So my sources being my forgetful mind. So
my brain memory is like glitching today.
So that's why I was like, or something involving a canine or something.
Well, so the canine is the one I went with.
Yes.
So I found a story about a dog hero. And I'm not going to tell my story in as much excruciating detail as I did in one of our earlier takes. But I have a hero dog.
Yes.
I do. Her name is Lila. So we have 3 dogs because we're insane. We have mommy dog Zoe and daddy dog Oliver, who everybody who comes to our house hates him, but everybody who lives with him loves him except Jordan.
I still hate him. That does not change the level of hate.
Oliver's the softest, most snuggly, amazing dog, and he has a word in his vocabulary that means mommy, and he only says it to me when I get home.
And then when he's shaved, he looks like Dobby.
It's great.
Scary.
And then Zoe's like, is it Nana or Nanny from Peter Pan?
I don't know.
Well, whoever the dog is.
Yeah.
Because she like takes care of everybody. But Lila is their baby, and she's a little bit worthless. Well, she's not, because like David's her favorite, so like they're each other's
just a princess,
people.
that's all.
But she's such a princess. So she's such like an eternal baby because she knows she's the baby.
Yeah.
And so anyway, but Lila gets to live here forever and be spoiled forever because she once saved our lives.
Which I did not know this until today, so I'm very excited.
You should just pretend like you still don't know it.
What do you mean?
So really briefly, so we've adopted all of our kids. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. We will eventually adopt all of our kids, but none of them are like ours biologically.
Yes.
So our oldest, Tyler, we got him. He was 11 years old when he moved in. So when he was about like 11, 12, we had a pond in the backyard, and he is freaking brilliant. And he has these things that he's brilliant about, like math and science and history. And they're like specific, like World War II. He knows every detail about, like, he probably could tell you the names of all the soldiers that fought in World War II.
My grandpa.
There you go.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I know him.
He knows him personally.
Yes.
So he also fish was like his big thing when he first moved in. So he was taking care of the pond, and he had decided that like the water needed to be changed out or drained or something. And so we had a pump in it, and he took the hose that was supposed to like pump the water back into the pond to keep it moving, and he set it in the yard to drain some of the water out. Like that was intentional.
Yeah.
But then because he's one of those brilliant people with no common sense, and he was like 11 or 12, he forgot, and we didn't know he'd done it. And so everybody went to bed. So by the middle of the night, the pond was completely drained, and the pump, which is supposed to be underwater all the time, had gotten really hot because it was completely dry, and it had started to melt and burn the liner of the pond. We had our window open. The smoke was coming upstairs through the window. Like it was a bad, like burning plastic. We were fast asleep. We had no idea. Lila woke up and she woke us all up. She sat on us and cried and alerted us that the smoke was coming in the room.
She's so cute. I like her more now.
Yeah. So she gets to stay.
I always liked her.
Well, her other endearing feature is that she's so super cute. Like she's bouncy and prissy, and she wears clothes.
And if you like blow on her face, she like bites at you.
She does. And she has the world's longest tongue.
Yes.
It's creepy long.
It could be like from the next room, and all of a sudden it's like,
she can
is
lick
that
your
Lila?
nose. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
She's half giraffe.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess giraffes do have really long tongues. Yeah. I was thinking necks, but they are. I fed one at the safari one time. It's scary because you don't realize how very big that animal is when you only ever see it like on cartoons. It's a really big animal. You have to climb stairs so that you can feed it. Yep. Okay, so my story has a hero dog in it, kind of like Lila. And just like Lila, it's a mutt.
I'm excited.
So, but it actually starts with Kimberly, Zumski.
Oh, okay.
Don't you think that says Zumski?
Well,
Zumski. Zumski.
I like it.
Okay, so that's going to be her name. So she was a mother of two who lived in Philadelphia. She was 36 years old in 2001 when all of this took place. She was a waitress and an aerobics instructor. And I'll post some pictures of her. She's like still kind of stuck in the 80s with her hair, and like
she's an aerobics instructor.
Right.
Of course
I
she
know.
is.
I know.
What are you talking about?
Probably wearing leg warmers all the time. But she's cute. And she had the two little kids. Their names are Luke. He's the boy. He's 6. And then Olivia was 4. And she was married to Thomas, and he was a construction worker. And they lived in a nice little neighborhood. And like the only problem, their neighbors said they were really sweet. And the only problem they ever noticed is they were like always working on their house, which was a little bit stressful. But like it was just, they were the perfect little family. But on May 8th, Kimberly put on her sports bra and her jogging pants and went out for a jog. This is what her husband said. Went out for a jog, and nobody ever saw her again.
Okay, so he's a liar. Continue.
Well, so months go by, and she doesn't turn up. Yes. 2 months go by, and her brother, who has the coolest name in the whole world, I don't know why she married and became Zumski, because her maiden name was McCool. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I apologize to all of our listeners.
We're just in that mood tonight.
That's right. So Jerry McCool, her brother, and her husband, Thomas, were raising money for a reward for information trying to find her. And they had raised like $15,000. And it was a Tuesday, nope, I lied. It's not May. July 3rd. Tuesday, July 3rd. So I had to have Alexa help me with the dates because like the article said it was Tuesday. And I'm like, okay, so July 2001, which days were Tuesday?
Oh.
Turns out it's the 3rd.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. There was a lot of research going into this.
I'm
she
excited.
knows those things. So Jerry McCool, the brother, said to the press that, even though he and the husband had raised this reward money and he really wanted tips and like he'd worked with him, that he had for some reason started to really mistrust the husband and he no longer wanted to have anything to do with him. And he believed that Thomas was the only one who could tell anyone what happened to the sister, like to his wife. Yeah. So the very next day, on a Wednesday, Luke and Olivia, with their combined age of 10, come outside of the house and they tell a neighbor, something's wrong with Daddy. And they go into the house and they find him in the bed and he has overdosed on heroin.
Oh my God.
And so immediately like they investigate and the police are like, well, we're still going to try to find out what happened to the wife. Like just because the husband is dead doesn't mean that investigation's going to stop. And they're like, it may have been a suicide. It may have been an accident. Like they never determined what happened to the husband. So the kids go to live with their aunt, and a couple of months later, no, about 1 month later, August 15th-ish, police get a tip from a former coworker of Thomas's that one of the houses they were building together, it has some suspicious stuff they might want to check out. That there's a funny smell, and that there seems to be a wall that is not on the plans.
It's like Stir of Echoes with Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, that.
Oh, no.
So they go and they get Eagle. And Eagle is a mutt. And he's a canine, like, cadaver dog. That's
Cadaver
yeah.
dog. Mm-hmm.
And he comes in and he immediately goes up to the suspicious wall. And he's like, there's something
Signals.
here. Yeah.
Aww.
So they call in the bomb squad and they bring their like x-ray thing.
Oh,
and
I'm like, what did they think it was?
Right. Actually, my other story has a bomb in it too. There's no bomb in this story. Just a bomb squad. So they x-ray the wall. They see a suspicious shape in the wall. And so they start to tear it down. Well, this wall is like cinder blocks. It's like a wall. It's not like a dry wall and a little bit of plywood kind of thing. It's like a huge thick. So it's like cement and cinder block, and it takes tons of people, and they finally get it all open up and they pull out a shrink wrapped body. So it turns out that back in March, so like a month and a half, 2 months before she goes missing, that Kimberly had filed for divorce and cited abuse in her marriage. And so that pissed off her husband, and he strangled her. And then he somehow managed to shrink wrap her body in
I'm
plastic.
still trying to figure out that.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess he would have had like industrial tarps and tapes and things. So I don't think it was like vacuum sealed, but he like wrapped her all up and sealed her in there. And then he got her into the house they were building and like put her in a wall and poured concrete over her and then patched it up with cinder blocks, like really buried this poor woman in there. And, but the dog could still smell it. Who solved the crime, which, I mean, it's still sad because now the kids are orphans, but
at least they had an aunt to go live with, and they didn't end up in, like, the system.
Yeah, no, it seemed like they ended up in a pretty decent home, even though I think it was the dad's sister. Right,
I mean,
so
like,
it was
can
a
I
little
go to
strange.
McCool's house? Like,
right, I'd like to go
I'd
to
rather
Uncle
go over
Jerry's
there.
house.
So then it probably was a suicide. Because the day before, the brother said, well, I don't want anything to do with him. He's suspicious.
Yeah.
I think he did something.
I wish that there had been more information on it because my mind, like all criminal mindsy, immediately goes to the brother killed him and staged it to look like a suicide.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that is what happened at all, but that's what I wanted to have happened. So it was a little bit sad, but in the end, Eagle was a hero. Aww. And I just love that he's like not a $20 million purebred
he was just
German Shepherd. He was just a mixed breed
That's
puppy.
cute. Well, New York finally has their first pit bull canine unit.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, they should. Because, I mean, I like Maya.
Yeah.
She's probably my favorite. And I'm always like, oh, I want a pit bull just like her. Like, that's what I want.
Shout out to Maya, all the way in Wisconsin.
So I was like, oh, good. Because they're always the ones that get so much flack, and I hate that.
Yeah. I don't get it. There are so many scarier dogs than pit bulls.
Actually, I was reading this article, side note really quick, I promise, that is about pit bulls, and their level of aggression is actually, I don't know how, like, their levels, like, are steps, whatever.
Right.
But they said it was, like, 2 steps under a Chihuahua's aggression.
Oh, well, yeah. Chihuahuas are mean little dogs.
On, like, the breed scale, you know, and, like, Akitas are up there.
Yeah.
I think it was, like, Chihuahua, Akita, and then a pit bull.
I bet Chihuahuas are the very top.
I think that's what they said.
But
then they were like saying, because you know how they're like, no, they have the clamping with their jaw once they.
They're just bigger. They're just strong.
This like scientist, I don't know. I'm gonna call her a dogologist.
Nice.
I like that dream job. She said every dog has that. If a dog does not want to let go, they're not letting go.
Right.
Because.
That would be.
I play tug of war, and that's my arm workout.
Yes.
I know that Frankie's jaw is so strong.
Yeah.
That I'm like, you could probably clamp onto someone and never let them go.
Oh, he could kill you.
Oh, yeah.
Both of your dogs could kill you.
Because I always pick at their teeth when they're sleeping, because I always like rub them. I know that sounds weird.
Because they have big flappy gums.
Yeah, so I do. I peel their lips up and I rub their teeth because I know one day I'm going to have to start brushing their teeth because if they lose teeth, they will not be able to eat what they eat because their food are bigger than rocks. So I just, all right, end of story. But I'm like getting too onto it. But still, I don't know. I do too. But
I mean, I love
they're no police dogs, I promise you.
No, they're not. Although, if they had to like catch somebody, Frankie would just pin him to the wall because he just leans on you and then you can't move.
Julius is the feisty one. He would take you down.
In case anyone is wondering, because I have no idea if the microwave would have shown up on the microphones, but there is definitely chips and chili con queso going on that we were not invited into.
And a guilty face.
A very guilty face. I saw a quote on Twitter, and I'm just going to totally steal someone's quote because I have no idea who said it. Seriously, Oliver, we were trying to do this in one take.
I told you guys that Oliver sucks.
So it said something about I just saw a Chihuahua or a pug or some sort of like little cute breed drinking blue Gatorade straight out of the bottle. And my first thought was, we really fucked up wolves. So, all right, so that's my dog story. I'm ready to hear whether or not your story has a dog in it.
I think it does. I think it's only a reference, though.
I was going to say it must not be central to the story.
Okay, guys.
I'm also ready to drink my gin and ginger.
There you go.
My second gin and ginger.
I've been sipping my coffee, so sorry if you hear my ice clink clank around my plastic cup.
I was going to say it's a Wawa cup.
It is.
Clink,
Wawa,
clink.
Please sponsor us. I drink your coffee all the time.
Also,
and I had your sandwich for dinner.
Tanqueray. You can get it on the action, too. We were looking for a new couch and a new podcasting room.
Thank you. So, mine is about Carla Leanne Homolka.
Whoa.
Did you hear me pronounce that name, guys? I'll say it one more time. Homolka.
She didn't even pause. She was like, watch me do this. She did the little like head shake and everything.
I got all ready for it. But from here on out, I'm calling her Carla. So she was born May 4th.
Nice.
1970.
May is a great month to be born.
Well, I've heard. I know a few people.
Everyone in my family.
I want to say, when I lived here, everyone was always like, oh, next month's May.
Yup.
May's the big month. So she was born in Canada, in Ontario.
Cool.
She was the oldest of three sisters. She was the oldest, so then Lori was the middle sister, and Tammy was the youngest. So after, through school, mostly high school, she worked part-time at a pet shop, and then eventually...
Ooh, pets. They're dogs.
Kinda. So she would eventually work in a vet's office.
Oh, more dogs.
And then become a vet assistant at like a different office. She kind of just jumped around offices. So that will be important later.
I'm trying not to swallow into the microphone. Sorry.
Don't swallow the microphone.
I will not swallow the microphone.
So Carla meets our next bad guy. His name is Paul Bernardo.
Ooh. I kind of like that name, though.
Yeah.
Paul Bernardo. It really, flows. It's a little hard to say.
Yeah.
Paul Bernardo. Nope. Don't like it. Go ahead.
Moving on. And let's see. She meets him in 1987 in October.
I was 5 and Jordan wasn't born.
Yep. She was 17 and he was 23.
They're old. Really old.
Oh, yeah. That Christmas Eve, so that was in October when they met. That Christmas Eve, he proposed to her. But the age of consent back then was 14, so she could legally...
Right, without her parents and all that.
So I was like, I had to make sure I checked that because I was
like,
what? I was like,
well,
ew.
and 17, I mean, really, that's so close to 18.
It is, but I was like... Her birthday's not until May. That's a long time. Why didn't he just wait? But then I was like, wait, let me check the consent. And it was 14. So.
I thought I was going to get engaged when I was 17. Yeah, we went to Paris and we'd been dating for 4 years. And I was just sure that David was going to propose under the Eiffel Tower. And he didn't. And we came home and I was like, man, it took another 2 years. So I guess we've been dating for 3 years. Continue.
So now I'm going to tell you about their first victim.
Oh. I thought it was going to be her. I was pretty sure Carla was about to die.
Their first victim was actually Tammy, the youngest sister.
I thought Tammy was the middle sister. Oh, no, Lori was the middle sister.
Lori's the middle sister. Tammy's the youngest sister. Tammy was the first victim. In 1990, Paul was definitely loved by the family, and he was always around. The parents loved him. Everybody loved him. So, yeah, misleading. Even though he was engaged to Carla at the time, he constantly flirted with Tammy.
Ooh.
On top of that, he would peep in her window.
Ooh.
And with Carla's help, sneak in through the window. She had, like, broke the blinds so he can get in.
To get in to see her, but he was using it to see Tammy, or just get in to actually see Tammy? What the hell is wrong with Carla?
So, I don't know, but she needs help. And my story has a lot of gross things in it, so be prepared now. But
I mean, earlier you spent like 20 minutes talking about dog shit, so...
Yes.
Okay, I'm ready.
We're moving on from the dog.
I won't drink anything right this minute.
Yep, don't. So he would sneak in to see Tammy sleeping, but also to masturbate while watching her sleep.
Oh, like Edward Cullen.
And and Carla would help him get in to do that. So,
okay, Carla, honey.
No.
Nobody is worth that. What is wrong with you?
Oh. Say that at the end. You don't know half of it
I don't even
yet.
know.
Nope. So then in July, he took Tammy across the border to get beer for a party where he said that they happened to get drunk.
They went into the U.S. to get beer?
I don't know if they mean the border, like, I don't know, I guess the next territory over.
Okay, so not like out of Ontario, not into
it didn't make it sound like into the
backwards.
U.S. Yeah.
You go to Canada to get beer.
Yeah, so that's how, it didn't make it sound like to the U.S. I think it was territory.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he said that I was like, okay, no you didn't. But he said that they got drunk and just started making out.
Him and Tammy?
Yeah, like, oh, we just couldn't help it.
Did Tammy know he was sneaking in and jerking off?
I don't think so. Because this, like, it's... Obviously, I don't have a whole lot from Tammy.
Sure.
So, it didn't seem like it, though. Because all of this information this is coming from his trial. So, he's the one admitting to all of this.
Ew.
So, it's very his side, and then sometimes it's Carla's side. But, so after that, he pretty much said, well, the first time Carla and I, like, teamed up on Tammy, she had laced the spaghetti sauce with crushed Valium that she stole from her work.
Oh my God.
Yep. So she
drugged her baby sister so that her fiance
could, when she was passed out, so she did not, but Paul began raping Tammy, and Carla just sat there and watched.
Oh my God. It makes me really wonder what has happened to Carla that this
is okay.
Seems okay.
I don't know if she was just so infatuated with him that she was just like that weak mind that just was taken over, right, or what happened. But
there have been periods of my life where like my younger sister and I did not get along and maybe even hated each other. I mean, we loved each other, but we hated each other. And never would I wish that on her. I think she was just
a weak mind, and he was probably like a slick talker type. And took her over.
Well, apparently, because everyone in the family liked him.
Yep. So he
It's
started
the most fucked up stories.
I know.
Makes me worry about you.
Well, this podcast is about.
I was gonna say I don't have any room to talk.
So what he would do, he would supply Tammy and her friends with soda, which I didn't understand this 100%, but it was like soda, and then it kind of said with white flecks on top and a foam.
So is it like drugged?
I was thinking like, are you referencing to beer? Because I was thinking like a beer head.
Yeah, but
with white flecks on top. I'm like, maybe.
Is it roofied soda?
I don't know, but gifts and food was also listed. So I'm like, he wasn't doing anything with it. He's just giving it to them. So that's the only thing I was like, I don't understand that.
Okay, so whatever this weird Canadian drink is.
Yeah, please let us know.
We need to know, just so that we don't ever drink it, because I'm pretty sure I don't want to if Paul is giving it out.
Yeah, as a gift.
Yeah.
So December 23rd in 1990, they spiked a rum and eggnog with sleeping pills.
Sounds good right now, except for the sleeping pills.
Well, they gave it to Tammy. And then they undressed her and covered her mouth with halothane.
Is it like cellophane?
No, it's like a chemical. It was a soaked rag with
like chloroform?
Halothane. I was thinking maybe it was like chloroform.
Right.
Yeah, because it was a soaked rag, and they covered her mouth and nose. And what Carla said is that she wanted to give Tammy's virginity to Paul. Already raped her by this
I
point?
was going to say, I thought this had already happened.
So I was confused about that statement, but I don't know, they're fucking crazy. So who am I to judge them now because they're stupid? So it was mostly because he was mad he wasn't Carla's first lover.
So she's like giving him her little sister.
Like to make up for it. Yeah. So
okay, so wait, does Tammy know? She
Any of
must
this has happened to
know
her?
when she wakes up. How can you not know?
I know, and I was reading it, and they never mentioned her reporting, her saying anything, her telling her parents, her saying anything.
Maybe she would just wake up and be like, I don't feel good, but I don't
know why.
Because I guess they probably wouldn't suspect Paul if everybody was just in love with him, and she certainly wouldn't suspect her sister.
Because I think at this time she was like 14.
She's a baby.
Yeah, so I think that she probably had no idea. So, I mean, they kept drugging her to the point where she didn't know. But, so, yeah. On top of it, their new thing was videotaping it.
Oh.
Yep. So.
What year was this again? I'm sorry.
1990.
Okay. So, big camera with a video, the VHS in it.
Like the actual tapes. Tammy, she kind of started coming to. She began to vomit, and they tried to revive her, but... only after they hid all the evidence and they cleaned her up and redressed her and put her in the bedroom, and then they called 911. So then when she got to the
a lot of time had elapsed.
Yeah, so she got to the hospital, they pronounced her dead, and she never came to. And they kind of deemed it, she probably just choked on her own vomit.
Oh.
So that got
they
swept
didn't even know
right
that it was
under the rug.
Oh.
Because they didn't think anything foul play, they didn't think anything of it. It was the holidays, they were drinking.
Right.
So Carla would now wear Tammy's clothes.
Oh.
And do that for
That's
Paul.
really loud, I'm sorry. But ew.
Then after they decided that it was, they were just too close to the parents and the last daughter, Lori, that they would move into their own apartment to let them grieve their own way. That was their excuse. They were like, no, we'll let you grieve.
We don't want you to notice that I'm wearing my baby sister's clothes to have sex with my fiancé.
Yep. So
they had a sexual relationship this whole time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then that leads us to the second victim.
Oh, great.
Her name was Leslie, and I know I had to look up this name, and I think it's Mahaffey.
Okay.
So this was June 15th, 1991. So 6 months later, they were going through this town that they didn't live in, but it was like a town they frequently went through, and he was stealing license plates.
Ooh.
Never touched on why, but
Must have been a car thief, or
I'm just assuming he's an all-around bad guy. So yeah,
apparently
doing bad shit. And they saw this 14-year-old Leslie. She had missed her curfew and was locked out of her house, which didn't make sense because she was missing her curfew because she was at a funeral, and they locked her out of the house for missing their curfew.
I bet
I don't
her
mean
parents,
to laugh, but oh my god,
her parents regretted that till the day they died.
Yes. So he, saw her and approached her and saying that he wanted to break into the neighbor's house, and she was so unfazed. She was like, "Okay, but do you have any cigarettes?"
The 14-year-old.
The 14-year-old.
So she must have gone to the funeral and then, like, gone out partying with friends and then...
And, yeah, so she was so unfazed. It didn't bother her that he was going to break into her neighbor's house.
Strange dude who's 10 years older than me.
Yeah. And she's like, well, do you have any cigarettes? So he led her to the car and blindfolded her. And drove her to the apartment. And it's Port Dollhousey.
Okay.
I don't know. It's kind of like Dollhouse, but it's DAL.
Okay. Somebody in Canada is going to write us a nasty note.
Sorry. I'll come visit and make it up. I want to go up there so bad. And he called Carla in the car and said, "Oh, well, we have a new playmate." I know.
Can you imagine how terrifying that would be if you were blindfolded in the car and
oh, I know. I was like,
oh my gosh, I'd be like clawing at the door.
Like their normal selves, they pretty much tied her up with, they said, kitchen twine.
Oh, great.
And they videotaped them torturing her and sexually abusing her. But the thing was, is they were listening to Bob Marley and David Bowie, which makes me so mad because I love David Bowie.
How dare you?
And I was
That's
just like,
the crime.
Yeah, I'm like, no. And Bob Marley is like chill out music, not let's torture a poor 14-year-old music.
Child.
Like, listen to something crazy if you want to do that. Like,
Like death metal.
Yeah, don't ruin my people.
All right, guys, when you're raping children, Jordan says death metal, not chill music.
Or just don't.
Or just
don't have a music choice.
Or listen to Bob Marley while you're like watching TV and eating edibles and smoking shit on the couch.
What Barb Marley. That's
Barbara
his
Marley.
sister. Just kidding. Okay, guys, you get the point. But we have to do a little laughs in here because the story just gets worse. At one point, this is the bad part. That's why I said that. At one point on this is all from the tape. That's where all this information is
Why do bad guys do stupid stuff like that?
I don't know.
You had the people that were texting their plan. There's tapes. They
just don't think they're going to get caught.
I guess, but
I'll touch on that later.
If I do bad stuff, I try to hide it. I don't do this level of bad stuff.
Well, yeah.
But like,
well, this is what he said. So at one point, Paul told Leslie,
the little girl,
"You're doing a good job, Leslie. A damn good job."
Oh, no, that's awful.
And then said, "The next 2 hours determine what I do to you, and right now you're scoring perfect."
Oh my gosh.
14 years old, listening to that while they're doing everything under the sun to you, and you don't even know what you're seeing because you're still blindfolded. So that made me so mad.
So creepy.
In one part of the tape, Leslie was screaming in pain, and that was because they were sodomizing her. And she was still tied up. So then she actually said something like, "My blindfold is falling down, like it's slipping, like I'll be able to see you," hoping that they would stop and fix the blindfold so they can't, so she wouldn't be able to identify her, thinking maybe if I still don't see them, they'll let me go.
Right. If they see my eyes, they might think I've seen them and they'll have to kill me. And that's pretty smart, especially when you're going through that.
Yeah. So that was like a big point in the trial when, so when they didn't care, that was like a...
Right.
So the next day... Carla said that he had strangled Leslie. Paul said Carla gave her a dose of halcyon? I don't know this drug.
I don't know. It's got to be a sedative, though.
It was like a lethal dose. Because the next day...
I mean, both could be true.
Oh, yeah. Because the next day they had a family dinner at their house.
At their apartment?
Yeah. So she was just in... I think they had No, the basement was at the parents' house. Yeah, so they must have just had her in like a different room.
She was still there.
Yeah. She was dead, but she was still there.
What? Oh my gosh. So they really didn't think they were going to get caught.
Yes. So then after the family dinner and everything, they decided, well, maybe the best way to get rid of her is just to dismember her, place her parts in different chunks of concrete, and just drop her in Lake Gibson.
Eagle is going to find you out.
So they did. They went out and bought bags and bags of concrete.
And that's not suspicious for people who live in an apartment. What are you going to do with concrete in an apartment?
Right. So they drive out.
Like in buckets? Like what did they...
It had to be some kind of form.
Yeah.
But it had to been something...
big enough for pieces of a body.
But I think a block shaped, because one piece was actually found because it weighed over 200 pounds.
How did they move these pieces of concrete?
Well, that was the thing. They got it into the car, and then he would always drive it to the lake and drop it off.
Did they do a couple at a time?
It was taking so long to sink that it didn't go anywhere. So then when the tide, I guess, or when water kind of showed it, they were like, "Oh my God!"
Did it have air pockets in it?
I don't know why it took so long to sink, but I think they probably just didn't let it set. Because they were doing it and dropping it that night. So normally concrete takes 24 hours. So I think it might have been the air pocket problem.
Well, and if it's 200 pounds, how far out can you get it?
Yeah. So that was my thought. And then a father and son who were fishing found it on June 29th. So they picked her up on the 15th of June.
Wow.
And they killed her 2 days before that. So the 27th.
Oh my gosh, they had her for so long.
Yeah. So I was like, holy crap. So I actually went back and wrote down the dates because I didn't realize how long she had been there.
Yeah,
So that's why I was like, ugh. So that's why the blindfold didn't matter, because they already decided what they were going to do with her. So then,
So when they found the concrete,
yes.
could you tell there was a body in it?
Well, I think they did, because what they referenced next was that they used the orthodontic record to ID who had been there.
So it was like cracked or washed away, or like there's a bit of, I don't even know. I guess it's not like pulling apart like a fossil.
No.
Because there's a squishy person in it. Yeah. I mean, I guess there are tools and people who know how to, can you imagine if that was your job? No. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I think that my job is rough being in a school. It is nothing like that job.
Yep. So
take back all the mean things I've ever said about police officers in this podcast. I'm sorry about your job.
So moving on to the third victim.
Oh, lovely. I'm so excited.
This is the last victim. This is April 16th, 1992, which was Good Friday. She was walking home from her Catholic school. Carla approached her with a map near a church parking lot, which I was like, ugh.
Did you say how old she was?
I might say it on the next page. I think I wrote it down. I know 2 of them were 14 and 1 was 15, so she must be the 15-year-old.
Right.
So
same age. They have a type.
Yeah, they were.
Well, he has a type.
They were all in the same group. So Carla approached her this time with a map and was like, "Oh, can you help me?" Paul attacked her from behind with a knife and forced her into the front seat of the car, and Carla held her in place from the back seat by her hair.
All of this crime research makes it so that I'm never going to be able to trust anyone ever again. Because if anybody ever asks me for directions, I'm going to like scream in their face and run away. Yeah.
That's why I'm always like, oh, I hate people now. So
it's going to have to stay in our houses.
So Kristen always walked home briskly because she, as I said, literally, word for word, Kristen always got home on time for her doggo.
Oh.
Once she didn't show, her parents knew something was wrong. Because she always got there for her dog responsibilities and stuff like that.
That is the most heartbreaking thing you've said so far.
I know. And I'm like,
I bet the dog was worried.
I would say the dog, when you die, your dogs don't know what happened to you.
No.
And like I watch those videos where dogs are crying at grave sites.
Right.
Because they do know or something. I'm like, how do you know? Ugh, that freaks me out.
And so somebody recently had a dog they had to put down or it died or something, and they had like several pets. And they were saying the vet had told them that if they could stomach it, they should let the other pets see the dog dead, so they would have like closure, so they would know, and they wouldn't just keep searching for their. Guess house pets just assume things disappear.
Oh, that's sad. Okay, moving on, people.
God.
And
so, now that you're depressed,
once the parents realized no, something's definitely wrong, within 24 hours, a search party was already put together. And they already recovered her shoe that was in that parking lot where she was abducted. So, over the 3-day Easter weekend, they taped themselves torturing and raping and sodomizing Paul.
I hate Carla.
Yeah. So Kristen would be more submissive, is what they said.
Yeah. She was probably sick and couldn't move and couldn't think. And
yeah. So he definitely intended to kill her from the beginning because they never blindfolded her. They picked her up in the day, and she could identify everybody. And April 18th, Paul was seen buying pizza, and this other girl, Carrie Partridge, maybe, who knows, reported him and a month earlier and was saying that he was stalking her and her sisters. But the case was mishandled by police, and they kind of just lost whatever.
I mean, that's a hard one anyway.
Yeah, so stalking is always bad. Actually, Sarah and I watched this Netflix show, Stalked, or something like that.
Right.
They actually took it away, which I was mad. But these poor people go through all of this, and nobody can do anything about it.
Right, because if you don't hurt or threaten or, you're not doing anything.
You just terrorize them, and that's it.
Yeah.
So that they mishandled it, and it didn't happen. But that would have been a big part in he was stalking these young girls. And
was the other girl was Kristen still alive at that point when he was buying the pizza? So that if they had done something,
so they could have used him as a suspect and checked, been like, well, that's his type, he stalks these girls, he could have abducted one. They could have maybe found her, but that just, they didn't link up, so nothing happened. The following day, the 19th of April, he murdered Kristen. I kept putting Kirsten in my book. I don't know why. It was like a...
That's just what you wanted her to be named.
Yeah. Before going to family Easter dinner. So he
It's terrifying how cool and calm and... I mean, it's one thing to be like a monster that hunts and kills little girls, but then to just be chill about it and like...
go to dinner, just go out and about. And that was just normal for them. So this was, again, Carla said that, oh no, she was strangled by Paul for exactly, this, she's very detailed, exactly 7 minutes, because I watched. I know how long he did it.
7 minutes.
That's not something you brag about. So I was like, if you said exactly 7 minutes, you were timing it or counting. Like
there was something I was watching about that it was like, so if you know exactly how many feet it is from here to there, then, you know, an average person wouldn't know that. So you must have made it up. And
well, maybe she did make this up.
But it doesn't matter. I mean, they're both involved. Who cares who strangled her?
I know. But then they always said the opposite did the killing.
Of course.
So Paul said...
It doesn't matter, guys. Yeah. If you were both involved in a felony when she died, you're both responsible.
So Paul said no. Carla beat her with a rubber mallet. And
oh my God.
Because she tried to escape. And then whoever did it, she was strangled with a noose and it was tied to a hope chest. And after she...
It scares me how much more of this there is.
I know. It's just 2 pages. Carla immediately fixed her hair.
Why? Oh, no. Because the last girl they chopped up. It didn't matter.
No. They tried, I guess, getting through all these interviews because at this point, they had been through several interviews. After Tammy's death, Paul was stalking the girls. I guess another... Not the sisters that was mentioned earlier. Another girl said, oh, well, he was stalking me. And then they were like, oh, let's bring him in and question him.
Right. So there are finally enough people complaining that this guy is a total creep.
Mm-hmm. And this was all before Kristen's death. And then, so like after May 12th, 1992, they were interviewed again. And the police decided that he was unlikely as a suspect. And I put OMFG because I was getting so mad. He even said that he even told them that, yeah, I was questioned in connection to the Scarborough rapist, which was a whole different thing.
Not this
even
case.
This. A whole different thing. Oh, yeah, I was questioned about that.
So is he just saying like, oh, well, I'm always the suspect. You guys always suspect me and it's never me.
I know. And I'm like, are you tattling on yourself?
Questioned in that? I mean.
So... They start this.
I'll stop asking questions.
No, you're all right. It's just that the story makes me mad. So,
you're all
like
red,
always.
I can tell.
I know. I always get so mad. So then they started a Green Ribbon Task Force, is what they're called. They investigated Leslie and Kristen's deaths because they were like, no, this is weird. This doesn't happen.
So I'm sorry, I missed a part. Where was Kristen? How did they find Kristen's body?
Oh, sorry. She was dumped in a ditch.
Just her whole body with fixed hair.
And the part about her hair is that it was completely chopped off. Like,
so she fixed it and then she cut it off?
So that was her fixing it. She
took a nasty trophy.
And that's what they said. They're like, okay, it was a trophy. Well, then Carla said, I would never take that, like, as a trophy. That's disgusting.
So what was it for?
I chopped it so it would be harder for you guys to identify her.
Okay. A, you're stupid.
Yes.
B, didn't you learn that when they identified the last girl's, like,
in
severed
a
head?
Block?
Right. I mean, I get why they just... Well, I don't know. Because I feel like usually criminals get more careful if their previous bodies... Like, wouldn't you try harder the second time or the third time?
They thought that they were just totally scot-free, like always.
Right. They found her and it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm. So that was the part about the hair. I forgot to say that.
All right.
So, and like through all of this, which was weird, they applied to have their last names changed because they did get married, but she didn't take his last name, and he wanted to change his last name. So I don't know if it's Teely or
they both wanted to be the same
different last name. It's Teal with an E at the end, so I don't know if it's Teely or just Teal.
Maybe just Teal, but.
But that was taken from a serial killer. Guys, I can't speak. I'm so mad. In a 1988 movie, like a horror movie called Criminal Law.
I love that they're not changing their identity because they're trying to prevent themselves getting caught. They're changing their identity to, like, make it more obvious.
Yep. And that ended up being approved with the name change.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
okay,
because
sure.
why not?
Yeah. So even a friend of Paul said, like, he's probably, like, he should be a suspect. Like, he told the police, like, no, I would check him out.
Right.
That's even your own freaking friend.
Right.
So I was like, oh, man, guy, you started off wrong.
This is nothing but me going, ugh.
Yeah. So finally, they started running the DNA tests that Paul gave 3 years earlier. Because they were like, maybe we'll see if it is him.
That's so how it always works.
Well, maybe. So this was in December of 1992. Oh, let's just try it out. Maybe it'll be him. So
We keep getting all these reports that he's seriously creepy. Maybe we'll just test it.
yeah. So at the end of December, Paul severely beat Carla with a flashlight on all limbs, her head, her face, and just said that she was in a car accident. So she went to work saying she was in a car accident. And her coworkers were like, no.
I wonder if it had been abusive the whole time, and that's why she's so...
Well, they called... It's like Aaron knows. So
I watch
the
too many
coworkers
crime dramas.
Called her parents and was like, something's seriously wrong. You need to get your daughter. So they go to the apartment and physically remove her from the apartment and take her to the hospital. Where then she says, oh, well, he's always abused me, and he's always so abusive anyways, and I couldn't get out of it, and thank God my parents got me.
Which
So.
I would kind of totally buy with the whole thing when she was 17 and her sister, and like there was something going on, or she's just insane and evil.
I think it's both. But so she did file a report of abuse, and Paul was arrested, but then released because he was like, well, I'll just pay my own bail. Like, I'll just get out. Most of his money was made from smuggling cigarettes over the U.S. border and selling them.
Yeah.
So he was a stand-up guy.
And stealing license plates.
Yeah. So then he's probably selling those too. Then Carla moved to Brampton with her uncle and aunt to get out of the apartment and kind of start a new life, I guess.
Well, kudos to Carla for trying to like get out of that. Would have been nice if you'd done that 3 bodies ago.
Right? And including your sister. So 26 months later, I was like, what a weird way to say
2 years.
Yeah. The DNA tests finally came back.
It's not just US that has a backlog.
Nope. So Paul was connected to all of the rapes, which meaning that he did all of the rapes that I talked about, and he was the Scarborough rapist.
Oh my God. He so wanted to get caught from the very beginning.
And then as soon as they got this information back, he was only put on a 24-hour watch. How does that work?
Maybe there was, I don't know.
I
feel like sometimes that happens though, where you need to like not wait for him to screw up again, but just like we got to get all of our ducks in a row before we arrest him. And
yeah, so that was like a little tidbit, but some of this stuff happened before all the DNA came back. So in February 93, because that was all at the end of December previous year, Carla was interviewed again and was pretty much just, she concentrated on her abuse. Later
did she all right, wait. She was telling this after they knew that he had done all of these things?
No,
or...
so it was after it was sent in, before the results came back.
Okay, so what sort of things did she say? Like, he beat me and, like, just was mean to me and...
So didn't say anything about the deaths or anything. She just concentrated on her abuse.
Okay.
To make...
Right. So she's still covering...
She was building her case.
Yeah.
Because she knew it was going to come into light, and she needed that to be a thing. She needed it to be a thing that, oh yes, poor Carla.
She's kind of smart.
She needed it.
But, I mean, that's pretty clever.
And I think she had a lawyer helping her, from what I remember, but that's what they get paid to do.
Mr. Lawyer Guy, just so you know, it's about to come out that we are serial killers and we prefer 14-year-old girls.
Make me look innocent.
So what can you do for me?
Yep. So that she just was like, no, I was just horribly abused.
Unless she really was, and then I feel terrible that we're like...
She might have been, but I'm sure she wasn't when he was still just a fiancé and she was letting him come into her sister's room.
And she was living in her house with her parents and had the opportunity. I don't know. I don't know.
I wish I still think she was a weak mind. She later ended up telling her aunt and uncle that her husband was the Scarborough rapist and what they did and how they were involved with Leslie.
So she confessed before all the evidence was in?
Yes.
Like to your wow.
So obviously the aunt and uncle were like,
oh
tell
fuck.
the police.
Right.
So
oh my god.
Then the police decided to open up Tammy's case. Which I'm glad, but still, that's hard. Then police did get warrants, but like to search their apartment for any evidence like connecting them to any of these cases, but they didn't have the warrant that could damage the house. So they couldn't tear the walls apart or anything like that to look for evidence.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, so it was just like
you can't cut up the carpet and you can't like
Yep.
take it's like okay.
So they could just look around pretty much. So they had that warrant, and they did find one video of Carla and Jane Doe, which she was never mentioned in these stories except for this one time, and they think that she was an American prostitute. And it was a lot of oral sex, and that was the only thing that was found. So they were like, all right, that's kind of weird, but
not necessarily illegal.
not necessarily that she was dead either. They didn't know what happened to her. So then finally, after the warrants expired, so this was in May, like I guess they last a few months.
I mean, this is also, right, and I don't know how it works. Well, obviously, we don't know how it works here.
Yeah.
But I really don't know how it works in Canada. So
Yeah.
that could be normal. I don't know.
So May 93, Paul instructed his lawyer in a written letter to like exactly where the tapes were in the house and to retrieve them, but not to watch them.
Yeah, that would make the lawyer like complicit. And did he do it?
So he explained to the lawyer in the paper that it was behind a pot light in the bathroom. So like in the wall.
Oh.
Yeah. So when he
What
pulled
is the point of having tapes if you're going to put them in the wall?
I
Or was it like he could get to
so
them?
they were like the little tapes. Like
right.
Yeah.
The little yeah.
They were hidden in the wall.
But like could he get to them? Were they watching them? I would assume that if you're making tapes like that you are like using them to relive your crime, right?
Unless that's just where he hid them, so he would take them out, watch them, put them back.
My fridge is haunted.
That's just what I thought. Okay. So that was at the beginning of May. And then May 17th, Carla said, well, I'll just lead you through the house and point you in the right direction of all the DNA you need.
So if she gives them permission to go in, then that's cool, right?
So she went in and showed them where Leslie and Kristen's murders and everywhere it all happened, where the DNA would be, the cement receipt, everything.
They kept the fucking cement receipt.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, guys, come on.
I don't even... Why? You're not returning it?
No. And it's been like definitely over a year at this point.
Get it.
Besides that, I'm like, okay, you can't claim that on your taxes, people.
Nope.
So the hearing was June 28th. So that was at the beginning or the middle of May. So not too long after. The reason why she went through and pointed out everything that the police needed is because in exchange for, like, that is kind of like her deal. So she only got 12 years in prison in exchange for her guilty plea for manslaughter. So
manslaughter. Hunting, torturing, killing little girls.
And she only got 12 years because she pointed direction to all the police.
I'm glad that she did, and I feel like there must have been some abuse. And I'm glad that she did, otherwise...
Yeah. I mean...
But still.
But they, it referenced later that they would end up calling her the deal with the devil.
Yeah.
And I guess more information kept coming out as she was in jail. So she should have been charged for more. And
it's too late.
I think that's when Tammy's murder something came up, but it would have been like double jeopardy. Like you can't. So that's why they said that her deal was like the deal with the devil. And she actually got out July 4th, 2005. Paul was sentenced to life in prison without parole for at least 25 years, which is like, I feel like a normal thing. Yeah. Like it's always about 25 years.
Right.
Maybe. But how crazy he was, I'm sure he probably effed that up.
Right. Hopefully he did something in jail and had to stay there forever.
Yeah. She ended up in like...
That still doesn't seem enough. 25 years is not... I mean, that's a long time, but he's young. Yeah. He's going to be strong enough when he gets out to hurt people.
Yes. I'll say she got out in 2005. She remarried and like had 3 babies and had a whole new life.
Who would marry her?
I don't know. I don't think, well, because her name had changed.
They just didn't.
I don't think they knew. Like, I don't know if she ever told them. I don't know. So,
can you imagine finding that out? I was listening to this podcast, and you fit a lot of...
Yes, it's like, you kind of are that person. But I think she wrote a book. What I'll have to do is find out all the little bits after her release and make it my little short story for one episode.
I don't know how to feel.
Those are all the crimes that they committed.
Thanks, Jordan. Now I'm mad.
I'm mad too. My face is hot.
I know you're all flushed.
Flustered. I'm like, ugh. It makes me so mad.
Why do we do this?
I don't know.
Because it's always aggravating. It's absolutely fascinating to read all of the details, but then it's just maddening.
Well, I think I wasn't as mad at the police as I normally am, because within 24 hours they found the shoe, they made a task force, they had their own search parties. Like
the DNA thing, that sucks, but really that's not even the police. That goes beyond them.
And they, at the time, didn't think they had a connection. Like, they're like, well, why would we send that off? They didn't think anything of it at that point. So I was like, all right, well, you should have probably just sent it over for precaution, but it probably costs a lot. So,
well, yeah, and you can't test everybody's DNA against everything all the time. I'm just trying to like make light of this situation because I'm so upset. All those poor babies.
Well, your last story is...
It's much more lighthearted.
That's what we need to end on.
Yes. So this story, well, okay, I thought it was super lighthearted, but then like my little war buff history kid was like, no, the consequences of this are just terrible. So we're going to pretend that that's not the case, and we're going to treat it like it's just totally lighthearted because it happened in 1914 and it doesn't matter anymore.
Okay.
So I found an old crime with cats.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Please do not say anything about T. Gandhi.
Nope.
Oh, thank God.
Not only that, but the cats don't save anybody, but they also don't eat anybody. Like, there's no death in this. It's very lighthearted. So here's the story. 1914, New York. And there's a butcher, and I was going to write down the name of the butcher shop because I even Googled it earlier today, and I totally forgot to write it down. But it doesn't really matter. It's in New York City. And one night, the police are, like, walking around patrolling, and they hear this, like, just cacophony coming out of this butcher shop. Like, it sounds like there's 100 people in there just ransacking the place, and they're like, oh my God. So the police officer that hears it remembers that recently there had been an explosion. Like, one of the articles I read said there had been a bomb or something put outside this guy's shop, and it had destroyed the whole front. So he's having bad luck. And so the police officer was like, oh my God, we have to like sound the alarm. So he's blowing his whistle, which was my favorite.
Which is the alarm.
Yep, that's the alarm. And like 7 other cops show up, and
on foot, they just run around.
They're like, I hear a whistle. So
that's why we're all fat now. It's because they were actually having to run around to stop crime, and we're just like, I'll just drive my fast car.
But how many cops did they have patrolling that there were 7 other within whistle shot?
I would say a whistle. How many blocks does that cover? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
maybe it's like in 101 Dalmatians when there's like the bark thing where one of them barks and the next one barks,
and it's like a chain whistle.
Right.
Everybody, the whole freaking city would be there.
Right. Well, so a bunch of like concerned citizens showed up too. They all pull their guns and they bust into the shop.
Oh my God.
No people in the shop whatsoever.
Oh my God. A bunch of cats?
25.
That is too much for me.
They had eaten every piece of meat in the entire butcher shop, and the reason that they were making all the noise is they were like down to scraps and they were fighting over them.
Oh my God.
Because they had been like starving cats.
Yeah.
So the reason that this is a crime and not just kind of hilarious is that they figured there was no way for the cats to get in, except because it's 1914 and we're not refrigerating our meat. So the shop owner would like leave it out. And he had this thing. So this is a new term for me, transom window. So transom window now would be like if you see a house that has like a pretty like stained glass thin window over the door. but then it was functional and it would open and you could like not let people in and not let animals in, but you could have some circulation of air. And so that was sort of how he like circulated the air and kept things from rotting so fast, as he had this transom window. It was too high for a cat to climb through. So they figured somebody starved 25 cats for a little while and then tossed them through the window. And it must have been like a rival butcher who was trying to get back at this guy. And they totally did, because they ate all of the meat. I titled this one Cats and Cows because it was all beef. I know, I thought it was hilarious.
I'm just in shock. I mean, cats freak me out. Like,
well, the article I was reading was like, we all know cats are untrustworthy, but just in case you're doubting that, here's a story. Yeah.
Side note, this guy was walking around Walmart with a cat on his shoulder today, and it was like screaming.
Well, I hope that mean lady yelled at him, because when I walked around Walmart with a snake on my arm that was totally covered up and nobody could have possibly seen it, she yelled at me.
No, and I was telling Mike, and he said, "What are you, a cat Nazi?" I said, yes, I am. And I was so like mad because we tried bringing puppies in there, and I'm like, I can't leave him or her or whatever puppy I was carrying. I'm like, in the car.
Right.
I was
That's
like,
why I brought the
puppy
snake
food in, or puppy whatever.
Yep.
I was like, shut up. I'm not going to put them down and be like, go run around Walmart.
Right. Well, so many people bring their... It is amazing to me. Like, I understand, like, service animals and all of that, but I feel like around here
and stuff,
there's always an animal in a car. Every cart, it's like a baby or an animal.
Yep. And this one was a cat on his shoulder, and he was kind of holding the front paws, and the back paws were on the shoulder, and
Was
it had a little
harnessed?
leash.
Okay.
And he had a little fanny pack, and he was feeding it treats, and he was like, okay, I know, I'm hurrying, to the cat. And the cat's like, meow, meow, meow. And I'm like, does no one else see this? I was in the Twilight Zone, so I'm telling Mike, and I'm like, go down every aisle until you see the cat man.
There's a cat!
And he was just like, what are you talking? Ugh.
That's hilarious.
I wanted to be like, sir, please take your effing cat out of here. No one wants to see that. I hate cats. Get out.
So I don't hate cats. I really like cats. I think they're fascinating because they're like such assholes. Yeah. But they shed and like they make my nose itch, and so I don't want to touch it, and they smell bad.
I don't want a cat. Like Kit Kat. I love Kit Kat.
I know, but I don't want to touch her.
Like, I don't mind touching her.
She's
I'm not
super
allergic at all.
soft.
But like your mom's cats, they're fine. I love them.
Her
They're
cats
snuggly,
are freaking hilarious,
and it's great. Sarah's cat, Lindsay's cat, Jenna's cats. Everybody's cats are fine. I'm like, I just don't want one by me all the time.
Right. Kittens are great, though.
No, I do not like kittens.
Oh, I think kittens are great. Okay.
I like Jenna's day-old kittens she had 2-day-old when I went and saw them. But then when they're playful enough to scratch and bite the shit out of you, that hurts worse than when a dog bite, like puppies bite.
Oh, yeah. And then it like itches and hurts, and
Yes.
it's all infected no matter how much you clean
yes.
it. Yeah. I know.
So I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it.
Cats are magic that way. Have you ever seen a close-up of cat's tongue? Oh, my gosh. Okay, everybody right now stop and Google, like, close-up of cats' tongues. Ew. They have, so you know how they're rough and they feel like sandpaper?
Ugh, yes.
It's because all the little skin, they have, like, essentially, like, inverted skin teeth all up and down their tongues. They're all, like, pointing back so that they can strip flesh from bone.
Do not say
Just
that
in case
to
you
me.
don't like cats. You're thinking about liking cats. So, that's a much lighter story. Oh, I was going to say, I don't love cats, but my daughter loves cats like whoa.
Yes.
And so it's super endearing. I like that you're like making that face like,
Because I'm looking it up,
Oh, you
guys.
looked up the picture?
Ew, it's like little tiny spikes.
Like hooks.
Ew.
It's insane. They look like shark's teeth. I know. I think that's the exact picture I've
Guys,
seen.
I'm going to post this.
She's going to post it while we're podcasting, and nobody is going to understand it for a full week.
I'm going to put it up here, and I'm just going to say episode 11.
Somebody's going to, you know what they're going to think? That we're covering a story where the cat eats its owner after they die, which we totally should.
Ew. T. Gandhi's character.
T. Gandhi's kind of fascinating. So.
You think I'm kidding? I am posting this right now.
In case anyone's wondering, it's 9:23 on a school night, and we're still recording, and Jordan is Instagramming.
I said episode 11 gets weird.
Right now, live.
Yep. So. Oh, and I'm on my personal one, so everyone's going to be like, what is she talking about?
Episode 11. What is she watching?
All right, well, we'll finish up, guys.
Well, I am forever posting pictures of my kids to ours and then having to delete it.
I posted a picture of my mom, which, y'all, that was a cute picture, but I did not mean that. And I was like, oops. So the next day I posted It's on my personal one.
Like, you didn't mean to post it, or you didn't mean that she shines with her own inner light or whatever it was?
No, I didn't mean to post it on our podcast one.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't change it. And I was just like, oh, it went to Facebook. Great. And I was like, wait, where is it on my Instagram? I was like, what?
I always forget to switch my Instagram back because I always just want to see if anyone's like responding on ours.
Yep.
Speaking of people responding, we should do some shout outs.
Oh, good idea.
So, first of all, of course, thanks for listening.
Yes.
And there are a lot of you listening. I don't know what's wrong with you people.
But we love every single one of you.
Yeah, but you don't have anything better to do?
But they're weird like us, so that's a great
I know,
thing.
I love it.
Yes.
You know what else I really love? Like, right now I have this list of podcasts that I've like promised that I download and listen to. Actually, I've downloaded a ton of them. I hope my boss doesn't ever hear this, but I'm going to be listening to them on my phone while I'm waiting for SOL emergencies next week.
Well, what else do you do?
Right. I can't get on the internet because it's testing time. Anyway, but I love like the community of true crime podcasters. Yeah. It seems like we're almost entirely women. And everybody's super cool and supportive, and it's very sweet.
Yes, I agree.
We have a potential interview of an author coming up and survivor of true crime.
That's going to be cool.
We have, I have a friend that really wants to research a crime and be on our show.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, I have two friends, but one of them's out of state, so we have to like figure out how to do that. Anyway, so thanks for listening, even though I might think you're a little crazy. And really hope you enjoyed it. And so we promised we'll do shout outs, and so we'll do that in a second, but we've been getting so many iTunes reviews, and it's great. And thank you guys. Keep doing that. We will keep giving you shout outs and love. And also, we have a whole bunch of new Patreon supporters this week. I couldn't believe, I didn't think anyone was going to.
No, I'm excited though.
I know. I think already, I really hope the sound is better. So last week I was like, oh, the sound is going to be so much better. But then I was holding my microphone, and I shouldn't do that. No. So sorry. Maybe this week it'll be better. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, so we have all these Patreon supporters, which is amazing. And we have been working on our promised like little things to send you guys. And so one of them was a digital surprise, and I feel like we should apologize for our digital surprise because it's kind of creepy.
I know, but we can't give anything away.
No, but when you get it, it was made with love. Yeah. And if it freaks you out, we're sorry. But we also don't really care.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. You signed up for this, literally.
Right. So, we have a Patreon page.
Yes.
Crime Crazy. And if you donate, we'll send you all kinds of cool stuff, because that's really the whole point, is to send you cool stuff, because it was really a whole lot of fun to make.
Yeah.
So let's look at our list. So here are our shout outs. I'm going to do the iTunes shout outs. You want to do the Patreon ones?
Sure.
Okay. So Brianna or maybe Brianna, I'm sorry, I only know you on the internet, so I don't know how to say your name, but from Murder Dictionary, which, by the way, I listened to this week, and it was really cool, and it's a super cool concept. Like, you guys have to go check that out. So she left us a review on iTunes. Thank you. Janelle O'Malley left us a review that was really sweet on iTunes. I love this name. Funk Jam, who actually is named James because I happen to know who he is, left us a review. He's one that wants to come on our show. Aww. I think he'd be so much fun.
Okay.
Although I have to warn you, he's like a teachery person too. So you'll be outnumbered.
All of my adult friends are teachery people.
I know. What's wrong with you? There's something happened in your life.
I probably just lived with two teachers for a good point of my life.
It's true. So. It was still a blast. I was telling someone the other day that I feel like every time we do a podcast episode, I'm like, do you want to move back in?
As long as I can bring my dogs.
Oh my God. Nope. Yep. I love you. Nope. I love your dogs. I cannot imagine them in this house. Oh my God. They just break everything.
Every toy you've ever had in this entire
There's
house.
There's so many toys in this house.
Socks, little kid socks. Oh God.
Oh my God, they'd eat Ducky.
Oh yeah, they'd eat Ducky.
They'd eat Ducky. That would be the end of the world.
Okay, says they eat anything. You name it.
They'll sort of grow out of that. Mm-hmm. I mean, Mate can grow out of that.
I am hoping.
Yeah. They get a little smarter. Anyway.
Sorry, guys.
So those
really
are
just like my dogs.
Those are my iTunes shout-outs. So thank you guys so much, and definitely check us out. And even if you're not an iTunes person, you can rate us or leave a comment on any podcast app. Just let us know, and we'll give you a shout-out. We'd love to hear from you.
And then, let's see. I'm going to do the Patreon account ones. And she writes mom, which AKA is my mom, AKA Erin's real mom. And we just wanted to say thanks,
Not that I have
Mom.
a fake mom.
Well,
she's just really my mom.
I have a few, like, second moms.
Oh, yeah,
you know what
definitely.
I mean?
Definitely
She's a
have
second
some of
mom
those.
to me. So thank you, Mom.
Thanks,
and
Mom.
I'm excited to send you your doggy surprise.
Yeah, me too. But let me tell you what my house looks like right now trying to make this doggy surprise.
Another one is Schaefer, which that's his last name, but that's what I've always called him. Thank you so much. I'm glad you like our podcast enough to give us money for it.
Right. Also, awesome to hear from you. I don't know if you
Yeah.
keep in touch with him, but I haven't talked to him in forever.
And we're on like social media and stuff
Right.
together, so that's how you keep in touch with everybody these days. You just
Right.
kind of stalk them from afar.
Yep.
When
It's
they
better
post
that
stuff,
way.
you're like, oh, okay.
Then you tell everybody they're your friends and you know them.
Yeah, it's like, no, I totally know them. And then Brian Williams, which he is I guess he's like the host and you're the co-host.
Yeah.
Because it's
So-
kind of his idea.
Well, he has his own podcast channel. He's Tin Pod Radio, and he does a bunch of shows with a bunch of different people. It's very cool. He's got like any
I
kind
remember
of
I
podcast.
kind of looked through his stuff that one day.
Any kind of podcast you'd want to listen to, he has one.
So
But
a fellow podcaster.
Yes, and we're doing one called Shortlisted, and we record. So we recorded one episode, but it was awful. Like, it was awful. It wasn't awful. It was good.
It was just the sound
was
was
so
really
bad. But so we're doing our second one. We've got our sound issues figured out. So we're doing that
perfect.
this week. So
Oh,
that'll
cool.
come out in a couple weeks.
So definitely thank you, Brian. And then last but not least, Eric Biscana. Oh, thank God I said your name right because I pronounce every name wrong.
I thought you were going to do them wrong on purpose.
Oh, okay. So Eric Boscana. Thanks. Thanks for your donation too. And thank you for listening to our podcast.
And you guys are all getting something really,
Digital
really
surprise.
soon. And it will probably give you nightmares. And we're really excited to send it to you.
Yes. So I think that wraps up our 11th episode.
Oh my gosh. How can that be? How
Time
did we get
flies
over
when you-
10
Yeah.
double digits? I always thought that 11, like when I turned 10, I know that's double digits. And it was like, oh, cool. But 11 was for some reason the year. And I was like, I'm totally grown. So I'm excited about this episode.
I'll be that way like episode 13 because that's like my number.
Mine was 6. So that was a long time ago. That was weeks ago. Can you believe we've been doing this for weeks?
Ew. All right. I gotta get
I'm
out of
so
here.
excited. I feel like it's part of my life.
It is. Weekly.
So thanks for listening, guys. And remember, we know absolutely nothing about the legal system and here or in Canada. But even though we're completely ignorant, we will be back in 1 week to talk about it again.